Well, hello, fly girls and fly guys. Welcome back to another video. And today, you guys, we are going to talk about how to become a flight attendant. I know that there's a lot of airlines, including my own airline, that's hiring right now, and everybody's trying to figure out, how do I do this? What's the best way to save money? What should I expect in training? And I'm here to help you out. And before we get into anything, if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. And this helps you in any kind of way, definitely like my video and leave me a comment and tell me about your experience. I want to hear from you. All right, let's get into the video. First, we're going to talk about the application process. Once you submit your application, well, you know what? Let's go back. Let's talk about your resume, because your resume plays a big part in if you will move forward in the application process. Most of the time when you're applying for a flight attendant position, you look for different keywords like customer service, safety, things like that. So as long as you have those keywords in your resume, you will be chosen most of the time for an assessment to move to the next level. So, you want to make sure that you have a great resume. Go through your resume and just make sure that you have down all of your customer service jobs. If you were a nurse, you have that there. If you were a firefighter, a first responder, if you were in the military, if you were a flight attendant before, make sure that you have whatever airline that you worked for before or work for at the moment. Have that there, so that way when they start looking for those keywords of your job descriptions, you have customer service, you have safety in there. Also, once you move past the process of submitting your application, 9 times out of 10, you'll get an assessment. Now, these assessments are very important to pass, because if you don't pass this assessment, you won't move forward. And they'll, send you a turn back in a minute. And then you have to wait 6 months to a year sometimes before you can apply again. Now, these assessments, they are behavioral assessments, and some of them, they just ask you like different scenarios. What would you do in this situation? What would you do in that situation? They're trying to feel you out to see like what kind of person you are, if you're honest, if you're trustworthy, if you're dependable, if you're customer service oriented. Like, they're just trying to find out all these things in this behavioral assessment, and you got to pass this. Very important that you pass it. They may ask you the same question 5 times, but 5 different ways, and you have to pay attention, because you got to answer the same way every single time. So yeah, you just got to watch out for that. So once you get past the assessment, you either have a video interview, or with my airline, they send you a group interview. Now, with the group interview, with my airline, I was sent that through the email, and I had to fly to Fort Lauderdale. The flight was not paid for. I had to pay for my own flight and my accommodations, but I flew to Fort Lauderdale, and I had to report to a hotel. I think it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. Once I got there, it was about 500, 600, 700 other applicants. Well, I had to interview against all of these people. They put us in rooms, like 5 different rooms of 100 people per room, and you just had to, just really show your personality. You had to answer fishbowl questions in front of everybody and make eye contact, and just answer these questions the way that they wanted you to. And once you passed that process, they brought you back for a face-to-face interview, and then after that, you pretty much got hired on the spot. spot. But I have went through other processes where you have your application first, then you have the assessment, then you have a video interview. Now with the video interview, you will be sent a link to do the video interview. Normally they give you like either 3 to 5 days to do this interview. You want to dress similar to this. You want to have on a suit jacket just like you would if you were going for a face-to-face. You want to have, you know, some makeup on your face, you know, some lipstick or lip gloss. You want to have your hair, you know, kind of freshly pulled back or up in a bun. You know, you want to make sure that your hair is neat as well. So you just want to look as similar to, you know, someone that would be going to a face-to-face interview as possible while you're doing the video interview, because you have people from you watching this video interview and they're judging you. They're listening to all of your answers. They're looking at your mannerisms. They're looking at your eyes. They're paying attention to everything. So you just want to make sure that you bring your A game. After the video interview, normally you will be sent a face-to-face interview. Some airlines, they will send you a phone interview. So you would just schedule a time for one of the recruiters to call you. Once they call you, they would pretty much kind of ask you similar to the same questions as they ask you during the video interview. And if you pass that process, then you move on to the face-to-face. Now, with the face-to-face, some airlines, they will pay for your flight and your accommodations. Some airlines won't. Like I said, mine didn't. I had to take care of all of that myself. And you know, if they do pay for the flight and the accommodations, you know, just make sure that, you know, when you go to the airport to take your flight, be on your best behavior. And when I say that, I mean you want to treat that like a interview as well. So, you know, you want to just, you know, kind of be mindful that people could be watching you, or, you know, someone, the gate agent could be reporting back, or someone on the plane could be reporting back that, you know, they had someone on the plane that was going to one of the interviews. So you want to be mindful of that. So once you have your face-to-face could go, you know, many ways. You could have the group face-to-face like I had, or you could have a one-on-one face-to-face. You could have a two-on-one. Two-on-one is two of the recruiters interviewing you, or you could have one recruiter but they're interviewing you two at a time. Or you could have a panel interview to where you have like one or two recruiters and they're interviewing like 5 or 6 of you at a time, and they're asking each one of you the same question and you're answering, you know, the same question, and you're just trying to make sure that, you know, you answer it to the best of your ability, maybe a little better than the person next to you. But yeah, those are kind of stressful. But, you know, you want to mentally prepare yourself for all of these scenarios during the face-to-face. And, you know, one thing that I found is, you know, as long as you're smiling, you know, they want to know that, you know, you're going to smile at the customers. You're going to smile at your coworkers, you know, so they want to see, you know, this big smile on your face. You know, they want to see enthusiasm. They want to see how you interact with all the other people that you're interviewing with, because the other people that you're interviewing with, those could potentially be your crewmates. So they want to know that, you know, you're going to be a team player, you're going to be sociable. So you want to display all of that. You also want to make sure that when you answer your questions, and even in the video interview, I didn't get to tell you guys that, but you want to make sure that you answer your questions in the STAR format. For those of you that don't know what the STAR format is, STAR stands for S, which is the situation, T is the task, A is the action that you took, and R is the resolution. So when they're asking you, like, you know, tell me about a situation where you had to handle a difficult customer. So you want to first think about the situation, explain the situation to them. Then you want to think about what task are you going to have to handle. You know, like, what are you going to have to do with this customer to turn them around because they're being difficult. Then you want to think about the action. What action did you take to resolve this problem with the customer or turn it around. Then you also want to think about the solution. So what happened in this situation? Like, what was the end result? So as long as you answer your questions in that format, that's like the perfect format of letting them know, hey, I can handle anything that comes my way because I did this, and this. And that way it'll help you stay on track, because you may go in nervous, or you may think you're talking a little bit too much, or you may be talking in circles. So if you keep that format in your head and you just keep going with it, as they ask you questions, you remember star, and you just answer those questions within that format. I guarantee you that you will probably land that CJO. A CJO is a conditional job offer. It's not an official job offer, because really you don't get that until you graduate. Then you know for sure, hey, I'm a flight attendant, I work here, I got my wings, I'm good. But the whole time during training, you are conditional. So that means if you fail a test or anything, they could send you home and you never really had a job. So like, that's it. But with this conditional job offer, they will do all the background checks they need to do for you, and drug testing or whatever. And then after that, if they don't tell you on the spot that you're hired, they will send you an email, maybe a week or two later. Sometimes they might call and tell you, congratulations, welcome to the team. This is when your training date starts. Now, when you get that CJO with your training dates on there, you'll get so much information regarding training. They'll tell you where your hotel's going to be, if you're going to have a roommate or not, if you're going to get a stipend, or if you're going to get like a small little paycheck or something, or if you don't get anything. There is some airlines that don't give you anything until after you graduate. There's some that will give you a stipend. My airline actually gave us a $600 stipend in the form of a debit card, so we were able to use that for food during our stay at the hotel or whatever the whole time during training. Some airlines, they'll give you a paycheck every 2 weeks. Some, they'll give you a big paycheck once you graduate. So yeah, that is your conditional job offer. Will explain all of that to you about training and the financial aspect and everything. Also, they may give you some things to study. Like with my airlines, we had to study schematics. Schematics is the configuration of the airplane. So we had to know where all of the jump seats were, all of the safety equipment, how many doors was on each aircraft, how many flight attendants worked the aircrafts, where the positions were. We had to know all of that. Also, some airlines, they will test you on airport codes. So you would need to really go over your airport codes, because it's very important. Because once you get your schedule, you'll see, okay, hey, I go from DFW to LGA. You got to know what DFW and LGA is, because you don't want to get on that flight and you don't even know where you're flying to. You want to know LGA is LaGuardia. You're flying to New York City. So the airport codes is really important. Also, some airlines, they make you memorize their safety briefings. I've only had to do that once for another airline I work for, a regional, but we'll get into that a different day. But yeah, I had to learn the safety demo, like word for word safety demo. But with my airline, we didn't have to learn the safety demo because some of the wording changes, so they don't want us to memorize it because of course it's going to change. What else? Yeah, so you could have anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months to 6 months to get ready for training. Now, while you are waiting to go to training, some key factors that you want to consider is money. And I can't stress this enough, because while you're in training, you're not getting paid with some airlines. So, and even if you are getting paid, it's not enough to take care of, rent and car note and insurance and you know, if you have children, it's not enough to take care of that. So you want to use that time that you have, whether it's 2 weeks to 6 months, to save you some money, because you want to have a good 2 months cushion, so that way, you know, until you get your checks rolling in, you'll still be able to pay rents, you know, and your car note and every other expense that you have. So you want to make sure that you have a little cushion before you go off the training. So definitely try to save you some money if you can. Then you want to make sure you have a good support system. So if you have any children or if you have animals, you want to make sure while you're in training that your children is with a family member, you know, their mother, their father, grandmother, grandpa, you know, someone that's going to care for them while you're in training, and you know, take them to school, daycare, wherever they need to go while you're gone, feed them, all of that good stuff. Animals as well, you want to make sure that you have, you know, a friend, somebody taking care of your animal while you're going to training, because I've heard of a lot of ladies that went off to training and they had dogs and cats and they had to give their animals up, and you know, that's horrible. You know, you're away from home during training and you're thinking about, you just gave your animal up, you know, because you were following your dreams. So you want to make sure that you have a support system behind you to help you out with these things, so that way your mind can be focused on training. Because that's very important, because while you're in training, if you fail one test sometimes, or maybe two, you're out. They send you home and they tell you to apply again in 6 months to a year. So you don't want to, you know, fail out of training, and, you know, all that time that you spent trying to go through the application process, the face-to-face, flying here, staying here, you don't want all of that to be in vain. So, you know, you want to go to training and you just want to knock everything out the park. You want to pass all of your tests with flying colors, and you want to get your wings, because that is the best feeling ever. When you think about all the things that you had to endure in training and you stand there and let them pin those wings on you, that's the best feeling in the whole wide world. So I kind of got sidetracked, y'all. Let's go back to training. You want to pack very well for training, because you're going to be gone for 3 weeks to 8 weeks. So that's a long time. You want to make sure that you have all of your toiletries. You know, you don't want to pack home and take that with you, of course, but you want to take all the essentials that you're going to need in training. You want to take that with you. You want to take some clothes with you, so that way if you have any off days from training, you know, you can be comfortable in your own clothes and your shoes. Some of the classmates that I had, they went out for drinks. You know, sometimes we went out to eat, so you want to make sure that you have, you know, some nice clothes to do that. Then sometimes, depending on who you are going to training for, they have a dress code. Some you can wear business attire, some require you to wear, you know, specific clothing. Like we had different colors that we could wear, and that was our strict dress code. Our shoes were strict. We had the different colors that we could wear. All of our shirts had to have collars on them, unless it was a casual day. We could just wear a t-shirt or whatever and some jeans. But yeah, most of the time it was like dress pants, khakis with a collared shirt. So when I got my clothes for training, I went to Walmart. I'm sorry, y'all, this is my dog. I went to Walmart, Target. I even went to Goodwill, and I picked up a couple of slacks from Goodwill that were really nice, and I actually still have them now. So, you know, you don't want to break the bank while shopping to go to training, because you're not going to wear those clothes again unless you go to training somewhere else. But you know, you definitely want to make sure that you have clothing to wear while you're in training. As far as your shoes, most of your shoes are the same, you know, solid shoes, and they have to be closed toe, and you know, you just want to make sure that you follow the guidelines of the dress code, because if you don't, that's another way to get written up or sent home, because they are watching you. They're watching you like a hawk. They're watching you to make sure that you adhere to all of the company guidelines. They're watching you to make sure that you are on time. That's another thing I want to talk about, is time management, because they give you a certain time to be in class, and you want to be there before that time. Most of the time when you're staying in a hotel, the shuttle will pick you up. Now, if the shuttle's late getting you to the center or whatever, then that's not your fault. But if the shuttle's not late getting you there, but you're late because you had to go to the restroom or you were talking to your friends or on the phone or something, that is your fault. So you want to make sure that you are on time at all times. You want to be on time from your breaks and your lunches, all of that. Even if they send you, you know, to a mock-up station. A mock-up is like a mock airplane where you go to like practice your drills and things like that and take tests. If they send you there and they expect you back at a certain time, please be back at that time, because if not, that's a good way to get put out of training. And like I said, you don't want all those sacrifices that you made to get there to be in vain just because you were a minute or two late. So, what else? Okay, so you also want to mentally prepare yourself while you're in training for tests, because you will take multiple tests, sometimes 2 tests a day. I thought that was ludicrous at first. I was like, who can take 2 tests a day? But yeah, they'll make you take 2 tests a day. You may take one in the morning when you first get there, and then you may kind of go over something all day that day, and then later on before class is out, you take a test on that you went over. So yeah, just prepare your test for yourself for like 1 to 2 tests per day, and you got to pass these. Most of the time you got to pass them with a 90 or above. So that means that, you know, you can only afford to miss like, you know, 2 to 3 questions, if that. So you want to make sure that you just get them all right. You just want to make 100, because that was the way I was. I just strived to go in and make me 100, and that's what I did, and I ain't have nothing to worry about. Or if I missed something, I missed one question, and I was still, you know, in like the top 10%. You know, I made a 98 or 95 or something. You know, I was still above the 90. So yeah, you want to make sure that you pass all of your tests. Graduation day. So as long as you went through and you passed all of your tests, you have a big final. Your final will consist of everything that they tested you over for the 3 weeks to the 8 weeks. So you want to go back through all of that information, and you want to review it like no other. So that way your mind is fresh and you can answer all these questions, because they'll give you like 100 to 200 questions, and you still got to make 90 or above. So you want to make sure that you answer all these questions the right way, and you remember all of these things that they taught you from day one, because it will be all in the test. Once you pass that final, you're good to go. You're good to go, because you got about a day or 2 left before it's time to graduate. So on graduation day, you will receive what you've been striving for those 3 to 8 weeks, which is the best thing in the world, to stand there and have your instructor or a friend that works for an airline pin those wings on you, because some airlines will send you home for, you know, a couple of days or a week or so that they give you time to move to your base. Oh, another thing we didn't talk about was your base assignment. So my airline automatically assigned me my base when they offered me the job. So I already knew where I was going to be based. Some airlines have you to put in your base bids like within 2 to 3 weeks of training, and you find out, you know, while you're in training where you're going to be based. That happened to me before with another airline. I was based in Detroit, and I found out a week before training was over. So it would go 1 or 2 ways with that. So once you find out where you are based, you want to do a lot of research on that city that you're going to be based in. If you don't have any family there, you definitely want to do research on crash pads. And what a crash pad is, that's actually a big house or a big apartment that house multiple. In one room, you may have 6 to 8 bunk beds, and you're sharing this room with 6 to 8 flight attendants. You're sharing a bathroom with 6 to 8 flight attendants. Also, the kitchen, the living room. And being that this is a crash pad, just what it says, you come there to crash. So you may pay like $200 a month for this crash pad, which is a lot cheaper than a hotel, because you know a hotel room will run you anywhere from like $60 to $200 a night. So that's the best option if you're not looking to fully move to your base location. You just get you a crash pad. Now there is some flight attendants that want to move. They want to move into an apartment or a house, a small house or something in their base. You can do that too. But starting out, a lot will go and get the crash pad. Now I've never had a crash pad before. I've commuted and now I'm living in my base. So I've already live in my base. So I've never had to stay in a crash pad, but I do have friends that have. All right, next we're going to talk about commuting. Some airlines, they allow you to commute and they give you a commuter policy. A commuter policy is, something that protects you in case you can't make it into base. You can show, okay, hey, I tried to take 5 to 6 flights and I still couldn't make it in the base, and you're protected and you don't receive any points for missing your flight that day. Most airlines, they don't like for you to commute only because they may not have a commuter policy, or they don't want to risk you not being able to get in the base and they have to cancel a flight or use a reserve or whatever. But a lot of airlines allow you to do it, and a lot of flight attendants do it. Like when I first started out, I worked for a regional airline and I was based in Detroit, but I lived in Dallas. Then I transferred to Chicago, but I still lived in Dallas. So I never moved to either one of those cities, never got a crash pad. I would just commute back and forth. Now, commuting has pros and cons. One of the pros I would say is, you are able to still live wherever you live, and you just catch a flight to that city and you work your trip and then you fly back home. Now a con is, what if you can't get to that city because of some catastrophe, or if it's during a busy season and everybody's booked and like you have a hard time flying non-rev and you can't get where you need to go. Also another con is trying to commute in on your off days. So that way, if you have like say a 6 a.m. flight on Monday, you're trying to commute in that weekend so that you can be in that city by Monday to get your 6 a.m. flight. So you're losing your off days that you could be spending with your family and your friends trying to get to work. It's kind of up to you, whatever you want to do, because most airlines, they will let you commute. Some of them, they don't encourage it, but it's still doable. So kind of whatever works for your life at the moment and whatever you feel comfortable doing. But definitely be careful if you're on probation, because you don't want to receive a lot of points for not being able to commute in and you have to call out. One last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was something that really helped me out becoming a flight attendant. I actually bought this book by my girl Ebony Christina. It's called Fly Girl's Guide: How to Become a Flight Attendant. In this book, this is like a holy grail for real, because she go through the different process like I did about applications, time frames. She tell you how to dress for the interview, the video interview. She just give you all these tips, and I'm telling you, this is definitely worth the read. I bought this on Amazon. I'll leave the link below. And if you are an aspiring flight attendant and you're trying to find out how to break into the industry, definitely keep watching my videos and get this book, because this actually helped me once I transitioned from regional to my airline's not a legacy mainline, but I still see us as a mainline, but not a legacy mainline. But this actually helped me kind of transition, and I'm glad that I bought this book. I'm really glad that I bought it, and I'm glad that she took the time out, because she didn't have to give us her tips on what to do, and it goes into a lot of detail. But anyway, y'all, it has been a pleasure talking to you about, how to become a flight attendant, giving you tips and kind of telling you my story about how I became a flight attendant. And we'll go through that a little later in story time. I'll kind of break down how I became a flight attendant with the regional airline and also with the airline that I'm with now, because it's an interesting journey and I want to take you guys along with me. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go, and you know what, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. I'll do my best to try to answer them for you. And like always, thanks for being my passenger. Bye.